lecture, class, discussion, whatever you can call it. Um, so today's verse is the 48th verse of the 8th chapter of the first canto. So first we'll recite the verse and then we'll do the Mangalacharna prayers. So this speaking is 1.8.48. Okay, so we'll recite the verse. Aho me pashyat jnanam hridi rudham duratmanah पारकस्यैव देहस्य भाव्यो मे क्षौहिणीर्हतः अहो मे पश्यत ज्ञानं हृदि रूढं दुरात्मनः पारकस्यैव देहस्य भाव्यो मे क्षौहिणीर्हतः अहो मे पश्यत ज्ञानं हृदि रूढं दुरात्मनः पारकस्यैव देहस्य भाव्यो मे क्षौहिणीर्हतः. Would you like to recite the verse?
अहो मे पश्यदाज्ञानं हृदिरूढं दुरात्मनः पारक्यासैव देहस्य बहो मे क्षौहिणीर्हता.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else would like to recite?
I can try, Prabhuji.
Sure, Mataji, thank you.
Hare Krishna, one sec. Aho me pashyata jnanam hridi rudham duratmanah parakyasya dehasya bahvyo me क्षौहिणीर्हता.
Thank you, Mataji. Anyone else would like to recite?
अहो मे पश्यताज्ञानं हृदि रुदं दुरात्मना परक्यशैव देहस्य भाव्यो मे क्षौहिणीर्हता.
Thank you, Mataji. Okay, so I'll go with these synonyms. Aho, oh, me, my, pashyata, just see, ajnanam, ignorance, hridi, in the heart, rudham, situated in, duratmanaha, of the sinful, parakasya, meant for others, eva, certainly, dehasya, of the body, bhavyaha, many, me, by me, akshavanihi, combination of military phalanxes, hataha, killed. Translation: King Yudhishthira said, "O my lord, I am the most sinful man. Just see my heart, which is full of ignorance. This body, which is ultimately meant for others, has killed many phalanxes of men." A solid phalanx of 21,870 chariots, 21,870 elephants, 109,650 infantry, and 65,600 cavalry is called a Akshavini. And many Akshavinis were killed on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Maharaj Yudhishthir, as the most pious king of the world, takes for himself the responsibility for killing such a huge number of living beings, because the battle was fought to reinstate him on the throne. This body is, after all, meant for others. While there is life in the body, it is meant for the service of others. And when it is dead, it is meant to be eaten by dogs and jackals or maggots. He is sorry because for such a temporary body, such a huge massacre was committed. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jeva Mudire Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Om Jnanatimandasya Jnananjana Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lita Shivishakam Vitam Hey Krishna Gurunando Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrichabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriyam Pancha Kalpatarubhishta Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshtarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakti Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Narottama Bhagavatam ki jai. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. I'll read the verse once again. Aho me pashyata jnanam hridi rudham duratmanah parakasyeva dehasya bhavyo me kshahinir hataha. Okay, so in the sequence of this chapter, we just completed Queen Kunti's prayers, and Krishna is about to leave for Dwarka, and Yudhishthira Maharaj is now started to lament, and as you can see from this verse, maybe a couple of verses more, on what he did for sort of say sense gratification of for him, he wanted to be on the throne. And one interesting fact, not very, one interesting thing to see is Krishna is called as Ajita, or not Ajita, to say Achyuta, the infallible. One does not fail, yet he fails. He fails to convince Maharaj Yudhishthir. And same thing happened when he went to the assembly of the Kurus as a Shanti Dut. He failed to convince to stop the war. Even though Krishna Achyuta, he still fails, so to say. Right? That's because he wants to glorify his devotees. He wants to glorify Bhishma Dev. He wants his devotees to be the highlight, not him. That is mercy, right? Compassion. So here, what Krishna is trying to, we know, Maharaj Yudhishthira is actually lamenting, and if you see in Bhagavad Gita, second chapter, the 11th verse, when Krishna says, Shri Bhagavan Vacha, Ashochayan Anvashochaspam Pratyavadamscha Bhashase Katasun Agatasumscha Nanushoshanti Panditaha. While talking to Arjuna, Krishna is saying, you speak learned words like a Pandita, and you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor for the dead. And if you see, the Krishna is what, of course, we know, and Prabhupada says that Shudra actually laments. That's the mentality of such a person. The person is Shudra, who laments for the living as well as the dead. So here, even though we know Maharaj Yudhishthira is not in that particular category, and we know it's because of Krishna's arrangement, it's happening. So what Krishna is trying to say is how ordinary people behave when put into a situation, sort of very bad for them. Right? And just to see, we know this war, and war means people will die. Not everyone is going to come out. Oh, we fought the war, input is same as output. That will never happen. People will die. And if you give a modern day reference, we have civilian government, we have politicians. They decide when to go to war, but they won't go to war themselves. Right? So they sit in one communication room and then say direct the soldiers to go and fight the war and be in the battle, in the front. And so, but by the Vedic times, what is to happen if they declare war? Well, the king, it's a Kshatriya government. The king would lead the war, himself, not just so. The king would be the leader, and in modern day comparison, we would say the politicians are the boss, because the boss says go, leader says let's go. The us is part, the leader is included in that party, right? The battle party. So Vedic system means you lead the war and not just sit and let soldiers do the thing. Basically go together. And if you see Maharaj Yudhishthir being the king, or so to say, the rightful king, also joined the war. He joined himself to fight the war. And we see that so this lamentation, so to say, is coming mainly because he actually saw the effect of war. He actually saw people being killed in front of him. Whereas in the modern day world, if you see that politicians, they say, "Oh no, people were killed. We should give him Purple Heart. That's it, done." And then, okay, good. They did not face the because people, soldiers, they have PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, right? Because of what they see in war, what they experience. It's very visual, it's very it's traumatic experience, which is unlike for the modern politicians, which they don't have. As the leaders, Mother Yudhishthir actually saw people being stabbed, the neck being cut off, the hands being cut off, extremely gory details, right? So King Yudhishthir is lamenting that the body, this material body, does not belong to us. We see when you see in the verse, he says this body is meant for others. Right? So it's not does not belong to us. We can religiously that the body belongs while we are in this material body. This body belongs to the family. And being this family, born this particular family or born in the human body itself, we have debts to pay. So when we get the body of this human form, we have many debts to pay to forefathers, to pitras, to family, so also to our country. So to say, right? Oh, you have duty towards your country. You're born in this particular country, so you have duty to your country. So we always have debts to pay to someone or the other. Yeah. So, and it's all subject to so many rules and regulations beyond ourselves. So this body, even while we are in it, does not belong to us. And before we came into this body, it was matter, which has belonged to someone else. And after we leave this body, it says in the Prabhupada says, while there is life in the body, it is meant for service of others. And when it is dead, it is meant to be eaten by dogs, and jackals, and maggots. So after death, the body is disposed in different ways. Some people bury the body, the Christians, the Muslims also. They bury the body. In that case, the worms take the body, we decompose. Right? Some people burn the body, like the Hindu customs. We burn the body. And some cases, they let the birds eat it. In Parsi community, they just keep the body in their funeral building, whatever, and then expect vultures to come and eat it. So even while in the body we are serving others, and even while we are dead, our body will be used in service of others. So Prabhupada here mentions the word, if you say parakasya. So when we see the words parakasya, means meant for others. It's very important. Prabhupada stressed on this this word very much. So somebody is working very hard. Right? So nobody is interested to work very hard for others. Why would you work for others? This is not the material philosophy. Everyone wants to enjoy, wants for his own sense satisfaction, for his own satisfaction. People work. So those who are in the bodily concept of life, they are working for their bodily sense gratification. But if we consider it a bit more philosophically, we'll see that this body does not belong to me. And that is where it comes, the body, the word, parakasya. Parakasya, right, meant for others. So Yudhishthira Maharaj says that this body is meant for others. So everyone should be interested for his own body. Who's interested for others' body? I eat for maintenance of my body, not your body. When I eat, my belly is full. I get nutrition, right? Not for your body. So this is a very good argument given by Yudhishthira Maharaj. Say, first of all, you have to understand whether it's your body. So Maharaj Yudhishthira is making the argument here. But understand whether it's your body. If for bodily sense gratification or satisfaction, you are committing so many sinful, you are taking so many sinful life, or doing so many sinful activities. But consider, is the body yours first? So let's go in more detail into this, right? So This body was given by our parents, mother and father. So in that sense, you could say the body belongs to father and mother. So if someone creates something, that thing which is created belongs to the creator. So if you say like that, then the body belongs to the parents, the mother and father, because of which we get the body. And Prabhupada gives an example of slaves. When the slaves, let's say, this example here, when they sell their body to the master, right? So if somebody maintains a body, then the body actually belongs to him. And Prabhupada gives an example of when we go to factory or when we go to work, right? When we go to work, the company gives us money for maintaining our body. Technically speaking, the body belongs to the company or the organization which you're working for. So in the beginning, the body belongs to the father and mother. When you grow up, the body belongs to your country. So you're working for the country as society as a whole. And in this way, when you go up to the point of death, and at death also, the body belongs to others. And we saw that how the body belongs to others. And so when I was going through this particular verse, and when this point came up, the body belongs to others, belongs to my parents. I was reminded of a beautiful interaction by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. After taking sannyas, he came back, we all know that he started going to Vrindavan, and Nityananda Prabhu tricked him, brought him back. And in front of Mother Sachi, Mother Sachi is crying. This comes in the Madhya Leela, the 3rd chapter. Mother Sachi is crying that, my dear Nimai, do not be cruel like Vishwarupa, your elder brother. He took sannyas, and that's it. He never gave audience again. But if you do the same, it will be certainly a death for me. And the Lord replied very beautifully. This is Mahaprabhu saying, my dear mother, please hear, this body belongs to you. I did not possess anything. This body was raised by you and it comes from you. And I cannot repay this debt even in millions of births. So it just strike me, Mahaprabhu saying something, this body belongs to you as a service, for engaging in service to someone else, not for ourselves. So in the 3rd chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, I think if I'm not wrong, it's in the 40th verse, the 41st verse, where at the end of 3rd chapter, where Arjuna asks, by what is one impelled to do sinful activities, and Krishna gives the answer as lust. So in his conversation, when speaking, at one point in this particular verse, Krishna says, so to defeat lust, we have to know where lust actually, we have to find lust, we have to know the position, right? When you shoot a target, you know where the target is to shoot it. So Krishna is giving here the indication, Krishna is giving the places where to find lust, senses, mind, and intelligence. So in this particular purport, Prabhupada very beautifully mentions about intelligence. So intelligence is the immediate next door neighbor of the spirit soul. And lusty intelligence influences the spirit soul to acquire false ego and identify itself with matter. And thus, with the mind and senses, the spirit soul becomes addicted to enjoying the material senses and mistakes this as true happiness. This false identification of the spirit soul very nicely explained. The reason I'm saying about that is if you see in the verse itself, in the translation, Prabhupada says, just see my heart, which is full of ignorance. And this ignorance comes from that is for the past and the false ego. Prabhupada says, Prabhupada quotes a verse from the 10th canto, the 84th chapter, the 13th verse. He says, and this is the translation, a human being who identifies his body made of 3 elements with his self, who considers the byproducts of the body to be his kinsmen, who considers the land of birth worshipable, and who goes to the place of pilgrimage simply to take a bath rather than meet with men of transcendental knowledge, is considered to be like an ass or a cow. So the reason I said this is because when our intelligence is contaminated by lust, we try to identify ourselves with the body. So there is a point which Prabhupada is making here, quoting this particular verse, that those who identify oneself with the body starts thinking that the body is made of three elements, byproducts, they're my kinsmen, this land is a worshipable land, the Bharat Bhumi, will die for my motherland. Right? This all identification comes when intelligence is, so to say, contaminated with lust. So, our intelligence is, if we have to work for others, sacrifice his body for others, then the natural question, okay, well, we have to service, we have to do some service for others anyway, so why not for Krishna? That is the philosophy Prabhupada actually propagated. If we do service, no problem. Let's use that propensity, that natural tendency. But instead of serving others, let's serve Krishna. So in the whole time, the whole duration of life, I'm working for others. And ultimately, what happens? Other means my senses. That's what we usually do. We are Godas. We should be Goswami, but we are Godas. So we work for the senses. And senses are others, right? So, but in his lectures, quote this particular verse. Kama dinam katina katidha palita dudnishaha, means you stick to this woman and go to hell. In the sense, I'm ready. Yes, Kama, I'm servant of the lust. Kama dinam katinu katidha palita durrideshaha. Nidesha means direction. Durridesha means bad direction. So neither, so this lust is one, which keeping me or making me identify oneself, making me the servant of my senses. That the propensity of lust. So if you work for our own thing, there is some sense, okay, we do for our work, it makes sense. But if you work for others, you have no claim, and day and night you are just working and working and working and working for others and others. So the Prabhupada says, what is that intelligence called? It's called as intelligence. We talked about that in the previous verse in Prabhupada course in 3rd chapter. So the reason Prabhupada gives the example of the analogy of an ass here is because the donkey or the ass works extremely hard. But does it work for himself? No, it works for the washerman. All for what? A small morsel of grass, which he could, if gets free, when the washerman, if he goes to the forest or somewhere, he can eat a lot more. But it still works for the washerman day and night, taking heavy loads just for one morsel of food. So in actual sense, if you go to any let's say any businessman, any gentleman, you say, sir, do you want to talk? And I want to talk to you about Krishna consciousness. But the standard response, we also know, I have no time, I have other things to do, I'm very busy. I say, okay, so what are you so busy with? My business, I'm doing a business, I'm busy with my business. Okay. So what are you doing business for? For maintaining my family. See, come again the same thing. You're doing all this business, everything for maintaining my family, basically meaning you're working for others. But he thinks he's working for himself. Oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. But ultimately, in the sense, he's working for others. So in this way, we are actually servant of our senses and the dictation of the senses. The senses say, oh, do this. Oh, get attracted to sense objects. And we become servants of them and do the activity. That is our position. So everyone is under this ignorance of being even though people think that we are doing for ourselves, but ultimately we are doing for others. So I'm working for myself, for my interest. Right? Prabhupada says in Prabhupada 7th canto, Nati vidhu swartha gatim hi vishrum. These rascals do not know what is actually his self-interest. He's working for others' interest, but thinking that I'm working for my interest. And Prabhupada calls this as ajnana. This is jnana is knowledge, this is the wrong knowledge or ignorance, so ajnana. Therefore, Yudhishthira Maharaj, therefore Maharaj Yudhishthira Maharaj is saying that Aho me pashyata ajnanam. Just see how foolish I am. This body, I may be king, but this body, although I'm king, if I did not discharge my duties nicely, I will do a bad job. People will appreciate me. People do a bad, to say, review, right? So he's saying, "Aho me pashyat." Oh, see my foolishness. So we talked about this, the material body is in a material way. And you're serving others, we are serving our family members, serving the motherland or whoever it is, right? Now, let's go to the other side of the topic or other side of the discussion. Materially, the body belongs to the father or mother or the land or somewhere else. But spiritually speaking, this body belongs to Krishna. And when we forget our relationship with Krishna, then the body belongs to someone else. Right? So when do we consider that the body belongs to a father, body belongs to a mother and XYZ? When we forget our relationship with Krishna and forget that the body belongs to actually Krishna. That is when we start identifying, because that's where ignorance starts. If we know that the body belongs to Krishna when we are fully realized, that means we are in jnana, not ajnana. And when we don't have the sambandha, we don't understand that the body belongs to Krishna, we are going to identify ourselves with body belonging to my father, my mother, and other sort of say relatives. So Rishima is saying that, so from material point of view, if the body does not belong to me, why am I committing so many sinful activity for others? So Rishima is being repentant here. Parakaseva dehasya bhavyo me akshahinir hatah. Many hundreds and thousands of soldiers, we saw that Prabhupada gives Prabhupada gives the sort of numbers. Right? Many thousands of men, horses, elephants, property, chariots, they have been destroyed, annihilated totally. Right? So a sane man is thinking, after all, the idea is that I should be enthroned in the chair on this kingdom. And for me, so many animals and men are being killed. The sane man may actually think like, if let's say even in the normal environment, if because of one person, hundreds of people are being killed, we expect that person will actually think, oh, so people killed because of me. At least we can say, understand, okay, that person is sane, he's thinking something, right? So if the translation, right, this body is meant for others after all. So because of me, actually I should be serving others, but because of me, I killed. Many people have been killed. So he's being very dependent here. So let's see if there's anything else. Yep. So when you say that this body belongs to Krishna and we should serve Krishna with his body, right? That is our business. And that other, when you say the body belongs to others, and in the material point of view, the others is who? Our parents. But on the other side, we should choose the actual other. Other is Krishna, not this material world. Because originally I am who? Jivere Swarupa Hoy Krishnera Nityadas. That is the constitutional position of every living entity, a servant of Krishna. So he cannot be the master. So if you don't become the servant of Krishna, then we have to become the servant of Maya. We are in the margin, on the border. We can jump here or here. Right? So we cannot be master of Maya. This is not possible. Master of Maya is only Krishna. Right? And how this is very difficult. We cannot be master of Maya, because why? Mama Maya Duratya. Krishna thinks my Maya, and it's Duratya, very difficult to cross. Okay? So how can we be the master of Maya? Okay? So controlling is totally impossible. But when we become servant of Krishna, Mam eva ye prapadyante, then Mayam eda tarantite, then we can cross over Maya, cross over this material ocean. Right? So we cannot control Maya, it's not possible. The real sanity is to understand that this body belongs to Krishna, and we should come out of the misunderstanding that this body belongs to my father, my mother, my master, or to the modern people in modern way, the cats and dogs and right. So materially we can understand that, but spiritually this body belongs to Krishna, because what is this body made of? Let's become maybe more Sankhyites. What is the body made of? Panchabhuta, the 5 elements. And we know in 7.4, Krishna says, Bhumi apo anala vayu kham mano buddhi revacha ahankara itiyame bhinna prakriti ashtadha. The 8 material elements, right? 5 gross and 3 subtle. It is earth, water, air, fire, mind, intelligence, false ego, everything, the combination of 8 elements the entire material world is made of. And so is this body. So in this way, the composition of the 24 elements, in detailed form, these 4 elements, Krishna is coming from me. It's Bhinna Prakriti Ashadha. It's my separated material energies. That is my energy. So this body is Krishna's property, right? We cannot create earth, we cannot create fire, so to say. No? It's only that we cannot create fire, we cannot create earth, we cannot create air, right? So the thing of the material elements we cannot, no material elements we cannot create. It can be created by us. Only Krishna can create. So this body, this external body is made of these elements. Similarly, I am also Krishna's. This body belongs to Krishna. And what about this living entity? Who does it belong to? And we know multiple references of Bhagavad Gita. One reference we know from 15th chapter, Krishna says, Mamai Vamsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. Mamai Amsha. Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. The living entity, eternal living entity is what? It's a part and parcel. A fragmented part, Amsha of me. There's one reference. And second chapter, in 7th chapter, Krishna says, Aparayam itaspanyam prakritim vidime param jiva bhutam mahabaho yayedam dharete jagat. This Krishna says, 7.4, Krishna talking about the material elements. And 7.5, Krishna says, there's now this another sort of energy, jiva, the living entities, that is para prakriti. There is a superior energy of mind. And what is superior energy of mind been doing? Exploiting the inferior material energy. So now Krishna is saying, well, body, which made of the 5 gross elements and the 3 subtle elements, it comes from me. The living entity also comes from me. So technically, whatever we are property of Krishna. So I am Aham Brahmasmi, Mahavakya, Aham Brahmasmi. Krishna is absolute, because Krishna is absolute, in that sense, Aham Brahmasmi. The Brahmasmi has different meanings, so to say, depending on the context. Brahma does not just mean Brahman. It is Parabrahman also. Brahman can also mean, Brahman means the great, the great. So even we are Brahman, Atma is also called as Brahman. So when you say I am Brahmasmi means, yes, I am Brahmasmi. I'm a living entity, I'm a soul. So in that sense, we are the energy of Krishna and Krishna are the same qualitatively. So we are same as Krishna in qualitatively. And Aham Brahmasmi also means that I belong to Krishna. How? Because we are same, the same quality, the same from the same source. Krishna is the source, we are part of the source. So Aham Brahmasmi means I'm same as Krishna in quality and also belong to Krishna. But the Mayavadis think, what they think? I have become Krishna. Okay? But that is not Vaishnava philosophy. The Vaishnava philosophy is I am Krishna's property. Not that I become Krishna. Just like the part and parcel of a body, this finger, you say, the finger can claim that I am part and parcel of the body. But the finger can say I am the whole body. That is not possible. But just to give this analogy a lot, that this body or this particular one finger itself, right, cannot claim that I am the whole body itself. Similarly, we cannot claim that I am Krishna. Living entity cannot claim that living entity is Krishna, because they say we are Anu and Krishna is Vibhu. There's a big difference, big gap. So Yudhishthira Maharaj, but is a very advanced devotee. Right? He says that Pashyate Ajnanam, just see my ignorance. I have killed so many soldiers simply for what? For this body, because I wanted to be, I'm supposed to sit on the throne and be supposed to be the emperor of the world. Right? Pashyate ajnanam me hridi rudham duratmanaha. And this ignorance is deeply rooted in my heart. Right? People, I know every step people are being baffled. Still they do the same thing. And in the seventh canto, Prahlad Maharaj says, Punas charvita charvananam, chewing the chewed. How much can you chew? I like the saying this, when you have a chewing gum, at first when you eat a chewing gum, it tastes very sweet. You're chewing very nicely, the juices come out, you're feeling very nice taste. After 5 minutes, just only one thing remaining, a pain in the jaw. There's no taste, there's no rust, there's no juice, nothing. You're just chewing the chewed. How much, what will you get out of it? Yes, there's no sense. So Duratmana and not Mahatmana. Mahatma is one who is not interested in this kind of business. And Duratmana is one who is interested in this business, so to say. Right? So one who is repeatedly engaged in this kind of activity. Right? The person is called as Duratmana. Only for working for body's sake. Right? And in that way, if you try to analyze, the whole world is working towards that, or working in that particular mood. Work for body's sake. Let's get a body. People go to gym, they make, lift weights, get so many muscles and stuff. What? I need to look from body. Because they are still in that ignorance, identifying oneself with the body. They can't go beyond that particular purview, particular understanding. So, if you just, I'm just going to Srimad Bhagavatam's particular words. Yes. So, in the first canto, the fourth chapter, the 12th verse, this is the translation. Those who are devoted to the cause of the personality of Godhead live only for the welfare, development, and happiness of others. They do not live for any self-interest. So, even though Parishit Maharaj was free from all attachment to worldly possessions, how could he give up his mortal body, which was his shelter for others? Now, this particular verse comes in the context. Shaunak Rishi, the sages led by Shaunak Rishi, they're asking Sudha Goswami, glorifying Sudha Goswami, and also asking what led, what happened, how did Vyasdev wrote this Srimad Bhagavatam, what was the inspiration, what happened to Parishit Maharaj, what did he do, and why did he leave everything? He was the emperor of the world, right? He's supposed to, being the king, he's supposed to only work for whom? Welfare, development, and happiness for others. They do not live for any self-interest. And the very beautiful at the end, Paul says, the shelter for others. How can he leave his shelter? How can he leave the position which is shelter for others? Basically, now you made them anath. Right? They don't have any shelter. They don't have any ashraya. Right? Even though Bhakshi Maharaj is not attached to anything. So, and this another pastime which comes to my mind about when we are actually practicing devotional life, the understanding that this body belongs to Krishna, and we cannot do anything and whatever we want. So this comes in the Antilila, Chaitanya Charitamrita Antilila, chapter number 4, where Sanatana Goswami he gets the boils because coming from, I think, in Mathura onto Jagannath Puri, the waters in Harikanda forest, and he's fasting, starts developing boils, and after meeting Mahaprabhu, everything, there's a conversation between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Haridas Thakur, and Sanatana Goswami. Right? So Mahaprabhu says that, give up all your nonsensical desires, for they are unfavorable for getting shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna. Right? So Mahaprabhu knows what Mahaprabhu was indicating nonsensical desire because Sanatana Goswami wanted to commit suicide. He was thinking, how can I come in front of my Lord with this? His body is so unfit. I can't even see Lord Jagannath. I can even, I don't want the servants of Lord Jagannath to see me like this, very unclean. The only thing I can do is when Lord Jagannath comes out of his Sri Mandir, I just take his darshan and come under the chariot wheel, and there will be the auspicious destination. I'll get an auspicious destination. He was thinking of committing suicide. Now, he was contemplating of doing that, and he asked actually before that he actually wanted to go to Haridas Thakur, where he was living. He found the way there. So later, Sanatana Goswami, after hearing Mahaprabhu's explanation, he didn't say directly. Okay, so Sanatana Goswami is saying he could understand my decision to commit suicide, and that is not being appreciated by Mahaprabhu. He could understand that because he was saying indirectly. We say in Hindi, this is saying, "Samajhdar ko ishara kafi hai." Just for an intelligent person, just the indication is enough. So even though Mahaprabhu did not say directly, he gave a beautiful explanation what actually means to do devotional service, and when you surrender to Krishna, what should one do? So he said, my decision to commit suicide has not been greatly appreciated by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And when this I was thinking himself, saying that Mahaprabhu knows everything, past, present, and future, and he has forbidden me to commit suicide. And then he fell down the lotus feet of the Lord and spoke to him as follows: "Oh my Lord, you are the omniscient, merciful, independent, supreme Lord. Exactly like an instrument of wood, I dance as you make me to do so. I am lowborn, I am the lowest, and condemned. For if you keep me alive, what will be the profit?" See, this is very dainya mood of Sanatana Goswami, very humility, but saying, what will the profit of keeping me alive like this with his body? What is the use? So Mahaprabhu gives a very befitting reply. Mahaprabhu says, your body is my property. You have already surrendered unto me, therefore you no longer have any claim to your body. Why should you want to destroy this property? Can't you consider what is right and wrong? Your body is my principal instrument for executing many necessary functions. By your body, I shall carry out many tasks. So, even though we say that, oh, we should understand we are the body, we are the soul, but to work in to go about in the material life, even though one should theoretically understand and realize that we are not the body, we are the soul, but still we have to work on the material platform. And being a material platform means, because this body, the ingredients, if you go to the origin, Sankhya, whatever, right? We know the body is made up of material elements, which comes from Krishna, and the soul is also part of Krishna. And when we surrender, so in technically that speaking, in that way, if we go the Sankhya way, we know that we totally belong to Krishna. And when we belong to someone, that we have to serve the person. A slave or a servant cannot say, "Oh, I'm not going to serve you." Why? You are mine. You're serving me, so you have to serve me. There's a master's right, so to say, in one way. So since we belong to Krishna, it's our absolute duty to serve Krishna. And when we surrender to Krishna, we say, "Oh, I'm Krishna, surrender to you. You do whatever you want." Devotees sometimes I heard this. They do very rash things. They drive a car, and the red signal, they just go the red signal. They just break the red signal, saying that, "Oh, Krishna will take care," and just driving. That's nonsense. So when we are surrendered to Krishna, we are doing devotional service unto Krishna. This body belongs to Krishna. As a living entity, we are now being used by his body to serve Krishna. So we have no right. We have to do everything possible to maintain this body so that we can serve Krishna, and not be fanatic and say, no, that's it. See, there's a limit. The renunciation part, like Raghunath Goswami drinking of a bottle of buttermilk, it has to come naturally. And say, no, Lord will take care of anything. Yes, Krishna will take care. But we should not employ Krishna in our service. Rather, we should employ ourselves in Krishna service and not say, oh, but whatever we do, Krishna will take care. I'll jump the red signal, I'll jump off the cliff, I'll do this, all jump in the fire, nonsense activities, and Krishna will take care. No. That means we are employing Krishna in our service. Instead, we should employ ourselves in Krishna's service. That is the whole point. Right? So, but mind, body, intelligence, myself, everything should be engaged in Krishna's interest. That is real knowledge. And Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, we have the 13th chapter, if I'm not wrong, the Kshetra and Kshetrajna. Okay? So, Kshetra, Krishna says, Kshetrajnam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. Okay? Krishna is also Kshetrajna. Huh? I am also Kshetrajna. We both are Kshetrajna. Kshetra means the field. And in this context, Kshetra means the body. Jna means knower, knowledge. So we are also Kshetrajna. Krishna is also Kshetrajna. We must say, what is the difference between the two? We are Kshetrajna of this body only. Krishna is the Kshetrajna of all the bodies. We may not know what is going on some other's body, or what is going in the mind. We may not know. But Krishna knows of everyone. Because he is seated in everyone's heart. Ishvara Sarvabhutani Hridesha Arjuna Tishrati. He is seated in everyone's heart. So just like that, each of them, Prabhupada gives an example like if there's a land and they're producing food grains or any other grains, whatever, food grains or whatever you want to call it, rice, paddy, whatever, right? According to his ability, and he's enjoying his property. Oh, when we say, who's his land? Oh, it's my land. Right? Therefore, he's called Kshetrajna, that he's an knower of the land. So Kshetrajna means the cultivator knows that this land is mine. It belongs to me. So actually this actually field, so when we say that this land belongs to a particular person, actually speaking, that this land does not belong to a particular person, it belongs to the government, because he is paying the tax to the government so that he can have claim temporarily. The moment he stops paying tax, it's confiscated. Okay? It actually belongs to the government. So what is the difficulty in understanding that although I am cultivating this body, this karma, because we get body out of past activities and all the karma. So if you take this body as a field of my activities, we are doing work. Right? So everything can understand the work. Right? So just like we give the example of land, we claim the ownership to the land, but we're paying tax to the government. Right? So here, when we do our work, we're taking care of a body, we should finally understand that this body belongs to Krishna, just like the land belongs to the government. Therefore, Krishna says, Kshetrajnam chapi mam vidhi. Right? I know mam vidhi, Kshetrajnam. I am the Kshetrajna of everyone. And the Ishopanishad, where Krishna also mentions, Isha vasim idam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagat tena taktena bunjita ma kisha ma kida kashya siddhanam. Everything belongs to Krishna. Isha vasyam idam sarvam. Everything comes from me and everything belongs to me. And so this is the right knowledge. This is jna, not ajnanam, this is jnanam. And when we come to this right knowledge after many births, bhunam janmanamante, right? So even Maharaj Yudhishthir, he's always playing the part of the ordinary man for to teach us. So Maharaj Yudhishthir is playing the part here of an ordinary pious man. And pious man is not perfect. We know that. So Yudhishthir Maharaj should have thought like this, that yes, this body does not belong to me, it belongs to Krishna. And Krishna desired that with this body there must be fighting for self-satisfaction. That is what he should actually thought about. So we know that if we draw the parallel between Arjuna, Yudhishthir, Arjuna had the same thing. The first chapter, at the end, the second half of his first chapter, Arjuna gives 4 reasons: compassion, restriction of the family heritage, enjoyment, right? And one more. So gives four reasons to not fight. Because even though Arjuna is pure devotee, he's been put in that situation to emulate our situation, saying that we are identifying ourselves with our kinsmen, our body, relatives, everyone. Right? But at the end, what did Arjuna say? Karishye vachanantaba. Oh my Lord, whatever you say, will do. I will do. So similarly, Rishi Maharaj, was saying he should have thought that this body does not belong to me, it belongs to Krishna. So Krishna wants the fight to happen, so be it. I will do that. Therefore, Arjuna is a higher grade devotee than Vishnu Maharaj because he has got a personal consideration. When Krishna asked Vishnu Maharaj, please proclaim that Ashwatthama has fallen. Vishnu Maharaj said, how? You want me to speak lie? I'm Dharmaraj. I cannot speak lie. I'm not. I can't lie. But it is not a lie technically, right? Even if it was a lie, because Krishna asked him to do so, he should have done so, right? So when he said that, that means his personal consideration, his personal ego, when his personal consideration was in place. If I speak lie, I become sinful, I will be punished, and then yada 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 and so forth. But a devotee does not think like that. Whatever, if it's sinful, no problem. I will do it. And the pastime of the gopis, when Krishna in Dwarka, Krishna had a headache, and the only solution was to get the dust of the lotus feet of the devotees. And Muni goes all the place and he's being chased by Lord Shiva and Brahma, everyone. But finally went to the gopis. They filled the entire sack and say, "You go take. Like, we don't care if you go to hell or not. If Krishna is satisfied, that's it. Aha. Krishna tushte, jagat tushte. Samsiddhir haritoshanam. For Krishna's satisfaction. That is the devotee's mood. Whatever we do for Krishna's satisfaction. We use his body for Krishna's satisfaction. We use his body for Krishna's service and serving the devotees of Krishna. So everything belongs to somebody else. But that somebody else is who? Krishna. That is Yudhishthira Maharaj. So Yudhishthira Maharaj, when he says his body is meant for others, this others here actually means Krishna. Right? So engaging, fixing up our mind, intelligence, everything on the lotus feet of Krishna and serve him. And that is the perfect way of life. So we have to end here. Thank you so much for kind listening. Please forgive me. You have made any mistakes during this presentation and full of faults. Absolutely. So please kindly forgive me. And if there are any mistakes, but if anything good came out of it, all the mercy of my Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada. So kindly offer any corrections, any comments. Thank you so much. I can improve myself. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Thank you, Prabhu, for very nice, expansive discussion on all the aspects of this verse with a short purport. You explored all the different aspects of this verse very nicely, the bodily identification, ignorance, the compassionate nature of Maharaj Yudhishthira very nicely. Thank you for doing that. There was one very funny story that I remember. His Holiness, you brought out that pastime of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with his mother, right?
Yeah.
When he said, sorry, I'm paraphrasing. I don't have the exact quote in front of me, but you did. But where he tells his mother that, where she's lamenting that he's going to leave, that his body is yours, like that, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember the exact phrase? I don't remember the exact phrase.
Yeah, God says, my dear mother, please hear. This body belongs to you. I did not possess anything. This body was raised by you and it comes from you. And I cannot repay this debt even millions of births.
Yeah, thank you. So incredibly beautiful and compassionate, statement by Mahaprabhu. So His Holiness Devamrita Swami was this, maybe some of you have heard this. So Maharaj, he's very close. He was very close to his mother, and his mother loved him, of course, very naturally. And he needed some funds once he was like brahmachari, and so he sent a letter to his mother saying, my dear mother, I need this money, etc., etc. And then he put this statement, like, this body of mine is yours, it's only by your mercy, etc., etc. And Maharaj is very hilarious, So she wrote back that, okay, here's this money, here's this check for XYZ. And she said to him, you can spend this money for toothpaste, your clothing, your food, but not a single cent for Krishna, So he was just joking and laughing about how he tried to use that ploy to kind of calm her down and help him, support him in his Krishna conscious activities. But she was wise, she knew that he's trying to ask for that. So when you mentioned that pastime, I was thinking of that.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Just something funny, but thank you.
Yeah.
I'll let others speak. I see devotees from Bahrain are online too, and I'm sure they want to express their appreciation and realization. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much for sharing the wonderful pastime, Prabhu. Yes. Can you offer me? I'm just full of problems. I'm sure can you offer, being compassionate? Can you offer corrections so that I can improve next time? So, okay. If not, thank you so much.
It was a very nice discussion on how the body is not ours, but belongs to Lord Krishna, and you brought in several aspects. A very nice collection of pastimes and points on this topic. Very nice. I liked it very much.
Thank you for kindness, Prabhu. Can you offer corrections, Prabhu? You are very.
Hare Krishna. This is Murthy Mohan from Balram Desh. Actually, I'm driving, but full class I had. It's really an enlightening class, wonderful. Really, and yeah, it was really glorious class. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Cha. Krishna. Okay. Thank you so much, all the devotees, for being kindly being patient and hearing what I had to speak. Sorry, Pujasan, Prabhu, skipping something.
No, I was just going to say, appreciate your class and the effort that went towards it. So, Narottama Vilasa Prabhu ki jai.
Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you so much for giving opportunity.
Thank you. So at 11:30.